Good afternoon, this is Gene and Jim, and we're continuing our series of videos regarding our project for orchard bees, which include blue orchard bees from last year, and also now leafcutter bees. We have this habitat that has not been harvested, and we've had some interesting activity in it over the past several months. Jim will talk about that in a second. But again, this is Gene. It's Saturday, August 9th, about 2:30. Jim?
Okay, and the interesting thing about this habitat here is that we placed this habitat out this year. We had used it last year for our blue orchard bees. At the beginning of this year, we started using blue orchard bees again in the greenhouse. And we also put a set next to that in the herb garden. And we placed this next to the herb garden. And for a long time, there was no activity at all. And then we noticed one tube was filled with mud, which is indicative of blue orchard bees or some other type animal. And then we saw 3, and then we saw 5. We started our leafcutter activity, and we actually got 1 leafcutter activity in here. So we want to see what's in here, but the most interesting thing about this is that the 4 mud holes that were filled, presumably by blue orchard bees, were actually appear to be drilled out, so a second generation, although it was our understanding that blue orchard bees do not produce second generations. So we want to see what's in here, and of course the last interesting point is the 1 leafcutter filled one down here in the lower left corner is still intact. So we're interested to see what's in there, what happened in these tubes that came out, and also what else may be over here. There may be all sorts of other type animals, not just bees, who use this as a nesting hole. So we're going to open this up right now with the tools that Gene indicated and see what we have inside.
This is Gene again. We're about to do the actual harvest process. I want to first explain a few things. This housing material is held together by a very tight band of laminate, and so to get through that and to open this, we have to use a pretty sharp set of scissors or something like that. Once we open this up, there's going to be layers, and I think Jim showed it to you, there's layers of nesting holes. So those wood laminates, and it's important to note now that this is made out of wood as opposed to another housing material that we'll talk about in another video. Once we open it, we'll go layer by layer. We use this tool here, and it's basically just a metal rod, and you just, if there are cocoons in there, we just gently remove them. And then we'll put them in these Tupperware containers for storage and for analysis later. I'll start now. Oh, by the way, it's not that I want to be color coordinated here. Everything seems to be blue, but last year when Jim and I were harvesting another nesting material block, we opened up one of the laminates, and a pretty nasty looking black spider came crawling out. And I still have that in storage, but I want to wear gloves just in case. So here we go. This is where it gets exciting. We loosen it up. Those bands are important because to keep these wood laminates from falling apart, these act kind of like secure ribbons. Now we have to cut through one more layer. We remove these, dispose of them. We remove these. Now, what's important in nesting blocks of any kind, you need to have a rear barrier so that as the female bee emerges, and the cocoons are from obviously back to front, this holds that material that keeps the cocoons stable and safe. So that's found in every kind of material.
Remove that.
This is reusable. So
remove this
I want
and
you
show
to,
the back.
yeah, this is interesting. You can just remove that, Jim. I have no idea what's in there, but it looks like there might be a lot of things. And here we go. We're going to go from top to bottom. Just remove. This is really kind of exciting because you never know what you're going to find. The top laminate is empty. The second one has something in it, but it's right now it's unidentifiable. Removing the third, and now we do have some obvious activity that was done here. I'm going to take my glasses off so I can see this a little better. Jim, to me, I could be wrong, but that looks like
Those look like leaf cutter.
it looks like leaf cutter.
Way deep. So should we put those? Should we harvest those into here?
Yeah. So I'm going to stand up while I do this a little easier.
Third layer down. Yeah, we're on.
Third layer down. Now just gently, we put them in there, and we will investigate this and look at what's in there later. We use magnifying glasses to do that, so that's one. And we'll be marking each one of these. Okay, we're lifting the fourth one. Now sometimes they stick, so you have to kind of pry it open a little bit. And now there was a lot of activity here at one time. If you can see.
Yeah, it actually goes this way because this.
Oh,
this
is it?
is the.
Oh, okay.
We spun it around, so.
Oh, it fits together, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let me get a
Thanks
close
for-
up of that.
Thanks for pointing that out. But at one time, there were cocoons in here.
Yeah, this
And-
may have been the one that emerged. This is, in fact,
Well, in fact, Jim, I tell you what, there's more in here than you think. There's a bee in here, but this, to me, I think,
that bee is gone.
is dead, but it looks like a leaf cutter. The reason I say that, the leaf cutters have little rings around
Yeah.
the abdomen, as opposed to a blue orchard bee, which for one thing is larger, and second doesn't have that particular coloration. So
Let
we're
me
gonna.
get a shot of where this was relative to the front. The two, these are the ones we just took out, and they look very similar to this one right here. So you can see that something emerged, and as Gene said, there appears to be at least one dead bee in there. The next level down, we're expecting to see something in this one, and then the last level we'll see the similar one and this leaf cutter.
You know, Jim, while we're doing this, there were a lot more bees in here, like this one here. I can see another dead one here. Again, I'm going to just gently remove the material here. Okay, just gently remove it, and I'm going to take. Where's it? I think centimeters. That's right, true. Okay, again, I'm having a little problem. There we go. All right. Is this one?
Now, this was the hole that wasn't completely filled to the end. You can see it only comes up to right here. With the flashlight, you could see that it had been filled.
This,
you wanna
does
flip
this
that?
pop right on top
I
here?
think that's upside down.
Is it upside down? How's there a problem with
Yeah.
that?
Okay, and so what do we see in there?
Well, again, there's a lot of debris.
Yeah, there seems to be one bee at the end.
Right.
Because again, this one, like I said, if you observed it with a flashlight, you could see that it had been filled, and then the something had come out of it. It dug its way out.
This one, this was interesting because there's at least the remains of a bee still in it. And that we want to look at that packing material. So again, what I will do, try not to mess up Jim's table here too much, is clean out the separations, but there's a lot of indication that there were bees in here. And what I can see visually is there's remains of dead ones, not as intact as what we saw. Now, I have no idea what this is. This could be a predator that was, when it was in there, who knows, maybe that's what killed them. We don't know. Let me just clean that up a little bit.
Let's move this back to where it was, this position. So,
Okay.
so now we have the last layer, which, as you remember, has one that is filled with mud and has an opening, and the other with the leaves that's not opened.
This is the fun part of our project because you just don't know what you're going to find. Now I gotta open this up a little bit more. Okay. All right, Jim, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Whoa, there are all kinds of critters in here. Some of them are alive. They look like spiders.
Let's see, we have these yellow, what are they, larvae? We have,
Yes, those are all.
this is obviously leaf cutters, although it's not full, but there's a plug, which is typical. And then there seems to be nothing in this, and there's a little spider or something.
Well, I want to know what kind of spider that is. That may be one of the predators of blue orchard bees and leaf cutters are spiders. A certain type of spider.
So why don't we grab the,
Yeah, let's get the larvae here.
yeah, so that,
We don't typically see intact larvae.
yeah, those are yellow. And then these
Interesting.
are actual, seems like good leaf cutter cocoons.
I wish I could have caught that little spider. Now I don't know what this is either. This little black thing. We're gonna find out what that is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get another container because this is pretty much an intact
That's a pretty
row.
good set of leaf
Yeah,
cutters.
this is good sampling. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna just gently put that in there and see what we find. Now, those little spiders, one of the tools I should have brought was a can of Raid, because I have no idea where they went.
So, okay, so that's our first one, which only had 5 tubes filled, and it turns out we actually found 3 or 4 more that were filled, that were a third filled in the back. This very first set you saw us pull out, and so so we're going to clean this up, label these, and then come back with the bigger habitat that's 8. I think it's 8 by 12, and it's almost full with both leaf cutters and blue orchard. So let's see what happens there.
One last thing, Jim, is I think I captured one of those little spiders
Yeah.
and
Okay.
put it in this container. I think it's in there somewhere.
Okay.
So again, that's purpose of the gloves.